Good evening. I'm Zeke Applebottom, and this is Third Party News. There's a new political development, one that may prove to alter the entire scope of the election. Prior to showing this incredibly graphic video, we must warn viewers that the following clip contains mature content and should not be viewed by children or informed citizens.
What would you do if you were elected about Aleppo?
About?
Aleppo.
And what is Aleppo?
You're kidding.
No.
Aleppo is in Syria. It's the epicenter of the refugee crisis.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Wow,
Okay.
that was difficult to see again. For those of you who don't understand what atrocity you just saw, that was third-party candidate Gary Johnson, a libertarian, failing to know what Aleppo is. As stated in the video, Aleppo is the city in Syria that embodies the suffering of the Syrian people, as the conflict within their country shows no sign of slowing down. Over the last 4 years, almost 300,000 people have been killed in the war, with over 1 million being injured. Johnson has seen a sharp 2% drop in his poll numbers following the incident. This decrease is being regarded as a major blow to this legitimate candidate, with pundits now claiming he has no chance of winning the presidency. Here to discuss this development is Margaret Dinkelberry, political correspondent for Fox News.
Good evening, Zeke. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now let's get to it. What do you make of this shocking gaffe?
I honestly don't think that it matters that much. He didn't really have a viable shot of even getting on the debate stage, let alone winning a single state. He was polling at 8% a few days ago, and now that number is down to 6%. I understand that it is disconcerting to see a political figure be unable to identify the most war-torn city on the planet. But everyone must keep in mind that he didn't have much of a shot in the first place.
You're telling me that he didn't have a viable chance to become president.
Yes.
What makes you believe that? He's the only candidate that actually sticks up for the middle class and has plans and wishes to implement them. This election, both other options are terrible. I just don't get your thinking behind it.
Are you serious? So you're telling me that Gary Johnson has or had a chance to become president?
100%. He is the martyr of this election. He is the only good choice. Both other candidates are awful.
And what policies are those that he implements? He wants to abolish all income tax and impose a sales tax of 28%, which will send the economy into a total tailspin. When asked about global warming, he claimed that it wasn't much of a concern to him because the sun will eventually consume the earth anyway, and that it doesn't matter. Of course he has policy plans, and that's great, but are you willing to defend the ridiculous claims that he makes?
Just like most of the country, I will stand behind my candidate no matter what he or she says. And that is final.
Let me get this straight. You're totally willing to throw out facts, data, and critical thinking in this election.
Yep.
And you don't see a problem with that irrational mindset.
I mean, I guess, but I really don't care. Pundits such as yourself fail to acknowledge that a third-party option is an actual option. There's no coverage in the mainstream media, there's no outrage that they can't participate in debate, and there's no discussion about their policies. Our news organization is trying to create a platform in which these third-party candidates can escape the two-party media bias.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
All right, go for it.
When was the last time a third-party candidate was elected? And there's your answer.
That's all the time we have. Thanks, Margaret, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Just to sum up the conversation we just had for our viewers, Gary Johnson is still a feasible candidate, and that gaffe was rough, but won't hinder his chances of gaining the presidency. We're going to cut to commercial, and after this, we're going to talk about a serious question. Are babies getting fatter? More after this.